Hello, everybody. Brian here from Quant. Just take a look. I'm not going to say where I'm from. Not even sure if that's allowed still. Anyways, let's take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin. There's a bunch of stories I'm going to pull up on my browser here and go through them. It's a very mixed story. From a technical perspective, I think we might start to see Bitcoin have a really nice big move here from, as you saw here, from 26.37.7 all the way up to 26.897. It might go up quite a bit further when you see these kind of crosses here. This is using the Hearst cycle. It is available as an indicator on TradingView. I have nothing to do with it. Called from Lazy Bear. It's quite good, this one. These can be accurate. It's like the most reliable indicator out there is good old moving averages. So this one is looking pretty good. But let's see what the other people have to say. So again, I'm going to go through these articles. This one is asking if Bitcoin is preparing for a big move. When I'm not sure, a lot of these articles found on the crypto news related are very fluffy, not a lot of depth to it. But this one's quite interesting as part of the development for Bitcoin, the blockchain, the ecosystem to sort of compete against Ethereum. As they add more features, it can be good for Bitcoin. But the latest edition is with the BRC20, it's increased the fees on Bitcoin. As a result, people have moved over to Litecoin. That's why you're seeing Litecoin move for the last number of weeks, as well as Litecoin is having a halving moment. So right now, Litecoin and XRP have been outperforming Bitcoin. So this might be an interesting article to read here. Lightning Network Infrastructure has rebranded to a Taro project to Taproot assets. So Taproot is getting more mainstream. So new tokens on top of Bitcoin. So that's now going to have Ethereum feature-like features. And solutions available on the LN testnet with a basic set of features for application developers. So this is going to be the next big evolutionary step for Bitcoin. Is a more cost-efficient manner. The creator of the BRC standard has referred to Taproot assets as the unequivocally better solution. So this might be a good story that can help build Bitcoin over the long run and to kind of keep it up to date from a technical blockchain point of view, keep it up to date with Ethereum. Taproot assets create multiple assets off-chain before settling them as a single on-chain transaction. Witness data, the type used by ordinals, is transacted and stored off-chain. All right, so that's a big one that, again, is from this site here, bitcoininsider.org. This one here is another interesting one where Morgan Stanley predicts Bitcoin to move up to 45,000. First, they're saying there's a correlation between Bitcoin and gold. Right now, I would say there's probably, out of all of the correlation between Bitcoin, is with also correlated back to the US dollar. So when the US dollar weakens, Bitcoin moves up. And lately, I've not checked the value of DXY, which is the currency index. So let's check that out. DXY, compare that against Bitcoin. You'll see that relationship here. So you could see here what's been going on. That right there with the DXY dipping a little bit can increase that value of Bitcoin. Okay. Now, if I look at, let's say, I don't know, year to date, you can see here as it's been stable, the DXY, it's kind of when it goes down, you can see these little pop-ups. So right here, and then when it starts to strengthen, it flattens out and consolidates. So that's something to pay attention to. So let's say if I look at a 1 year, you can see here as the DXY declines, you can see it's kind of gone up a little bit. Last year, where you'd see this is where, as a DXY increases, this is the value of the dollar. US dollar goes up. You'll see that the overall performance of DXY, sorry, the Bitcoin value declines as the US dollar inclines or goes up. So there is that indirect relationship. There's this article saying that there's now a correlation between gold and Bitcoin. So let's check that out here. There is some of that. You can see that here. And these are intertwined. These move back and forth. Sometimes people say the same thing about the stock market. Bitcoin correlates around that too. You can see here that gold, as it goes up, so does Bitcoin. You can see that little slight parabolic move going all the way back here since March 23rd. That slight relationship. So that's kind of valid. So there is that. Now, as gold moves up, as you can see here, or sorry, gold goes down and gold DXY goes up. Yeah, there's definitely a relationship here as, yeah, right. Well, not really. Because here's gold, GLD, it declines. So does the price of Bitcoin. But look what happens when gold goes up. And look at that big decline when Bitcoin just has a massive dump in this period. But meanwhile, gold goes up. So this temporarily works. Let me go back to that article. So there's a correlation temporarily. Okay, there is temporarily. So as current gold price hovering near 2,000 per ounce implies that Bitcoin price of 45,000. This assumption is based on the idea that BTC will reach a similar standing as gold. Okay, and that's coming from Morgan Stanley, or sorry, JP Morgan, as well as I've seen these type of crazy predictions with Bitcoin as well. So this is an interesting article, but it's temporarily correct. But just because it comes from the name JP Morgan doesn't mean a whole lot. I've seen Bitcoin analysts get it wrong too. So I don't look at that too deeply. But what I will say is for sure the big mover, the big driver for Bitcoin is this. Check it out. China has announced the permission for retail trading of Bitcoin. Apparently, in Chinese TV, they had some ad or some news report allowing Bitcoin permission of retail trading with Bitcoin in Hong Kong. So that is a big deal, and along with the introduction of a government-supported metaverse platform. So if that's true, and let's say mainland China can get involved with this Bitcoin for retail traders in Hong Kong, that is a very, very big deal. Because you got to remember, when we look at the price of Bitcoin, let me see, on a 5 year, these price increases that you got with Bitcoin, one of the big drivers was that because Bitcoin was heavily traded in China. And then when they announced along these declines here, one of these declines was dropped when China said, no, we're not allowing you to trade Bitcoin. As a result, that was one of the big drivers that had the price virtually collapse. So when you look at the news story here, that's a big deal, okay? But at the same time, when you look at the U.S. is intensifying its crackdown on crypto, hastily liquidating substantial amounts of Bitcoin holdings. It seems that the bullish market trend is emerging from Asia. So I agree with that assessment, very much so. Here is now a bearish article on Bitcoin. One way people look at this is on Coinpedia, is using on-chain data as a reliable way. Well, I shouldn't say reliable, but one of the more reliable ways. But it's not been that uh, has not been that predictable. Has not been correct. So here, if you're at 26,500 level, so we're now. Let me do a 5-day here. I'll get rid of all these other ones here. Okay, so we're looking at around here. It pulled up and it's been hovering around here. So that's a big deal there. So here on the on-chain analysis, this article stuck in a crucial range, which is true around 27, 28,000. Analyst Cheeky Crypto on YouTube issued a warning and said that there will be bearish times ahead. Now, again, what you see here is usually not correct. It's not predictable. Bitcoin inflow versus outflow. This is true, though. January 1st until yesterday, total number of 3.9 million Bitcoin been deposited onto exchanges, while 3.8 million have been withdrawn. Okay, so that's a bearish view, but that's over 6 months. That's not including this news about China or Hong Kong allowing Bitcoin to be traded by their retail traders. That's now a different story. So there's truth to this. Now, if that news story coming out of China did not exist, I would agree that Bitcoin could drop, but I don't think that's the case. Now, here's something new. First, until yesterday, approximately 1.9 million Bitcoin been deposited on exchanges, while 1.8 have been withdrawn. This indicates that Bitcoin is currently flowing onto exchanges. Now, that's not including, as there's a big movement on the blockchain for Bitcoin, where people are now doing their own self-custody by having their own wallet. And there's a lot of other open source projects out there getting you onto the blockchain directly by allowing you to build out your own Bitcoin node. I think because of that, that will also build the demand for Bitcoin. And a lot of it, as news comes out on these central bank digital currencies or coins, CBDCs, there's more and more of it. I've just been on Twitter, saw an ad from our Canadian government, or I think it was Bank of Canada, asking for our opinion on CBDCs. So when you start seeing things like that, they're coming. They're also got a program launched with FedNow in the U.S. starting July 1st. So these CBDCs are real. So as more people get scared and wanting to build out their own Bitcoin node on the Bitcoin blockchain, there's more of that. So even the number of deposits going to exchanges, you also have to ask how many nodes are growing on the blockchain for Bitcoin, and then how much Bitcoin is being added to the blockchain through these direct nodes on the blockchain. That's the key, right? They're only using these exchanges because on the on-chain analysis, that's the only data they have. So I think that will continue to grow, especially when it comes to these CBDC announcements. I saw another one on Australia as well. So, and where it's going to get really, really big is when you got a guy like DeSantis making it a political issue in that Twitter space with Musk. There was that, and he's also against CBDC, so that is going to be a political issue, and that's just going to add more demand for Bitcoin and people wanting to be on Bitcoin. Also depends upon what the regulators do as well. So continuing along here. So here's another big headline. This right here, June rate hikes. So if they're going to add in another 0.25% increase from the Fed on the interest, what will happen to Bitcoin? Will Bitcoin go up or down? Usually, well, let's see what's been going on. So in May they did it. When did they raise the interest rates? I can't remember. But usually If they're raising interest rates, that's a confidence in the system as more banks start to break down, like the previous banks. More people pile into things like crypto, Bitcoin. So there could be a pop. Another article here. Um, let's see. Let me just give this an opportunity. This article may explain it. Bitcoin shrugs off new U.S. inflation woes. I haven't seen inflation at all. None. But that will be as people lose confidence in the space of the old fiat world. People will pile into crypto, and obviously Bitcoin will be number one. So this is where things may grow or drive demand for Bitcoin. So here, according to CME Group Fed Watch, the market can narrowly favor a fresh hike in June. It was more than 80% certain that pause would occur. I don't know. It's really hard to say. But let me just go back, all these bad ads. But there was another mention of the mention of the value of the DXY, which I just showed earlier. I want to see it, what it says here. Daily weekly close after about 104, opens up 105 early next week. The only thing that would turn me bearish is on the DX is a daily close below 103. That's kind of interesting because from what I've seen is the US dollar drops, the Bitcoin will go up. So a lot of these, I don't know what to trust or what not to trust. So here's the last article. Bitcoin could reach 45,000 to raising. Okay, so we've already gone over this article as well. So from my point of view, what's really important to note here is these crosses. These crosses are what matters. So when you see these crosses, these are your buy and sell signals. But if you want to drop away, that's on a minute. But if you look at maybe like a daily chart to remove a lot of that noise, you can see here there is that sell signal. Once these cross, these two lines right there, you can't expect a buy signal. Okay, now the question is the magnitude of it, and that's where the fundamentals come in. So again, when you look at DXY, which is more reliable, see here as the DXY starts to move up, that's when the DX or the Bitcoin drops. If you look at the other one, as I said, gold has gone up as well. You can see here they cross. So when you look at these crosses between gold and US dollar, this is interesting to see how much impact that would have on Bitcoin. So right here on that cross down, you can see Bitcoin went down, and right here as gold moves up, what happens to the price of Bitcoin? It moves up, and you can see right here as DXY, it drops. So there might be some more reliable relationship here. So right here, you can see when gold drops below Bitcoin, it does drop. And as gold starts to move up, so does Bitcoin. Very interesting relationship I just found out there. So play around. Let me know what you think. And we shall talk to you later. Thanks for watching. But I do think part of the other driver will be positive news with the debt default negotiations. Once that is good news, you can expect Bitcoin to move up. That can happen at any point during this weekend. Thanks for watching, and we shall talk to you later. Have a good day.